We face these nerve-wracking moments, and it could be in our game, it could be in our sport, and usually what happens is we face a challenge, a nerve-wracking moment for about 30 seconds, maybe a minute, maybe 2 minutes max. Maybe over the whole game, to be honest with you, it probably is 2 minutes over an entire 90-minute game. And, you know, we dwell on that thing for the hours before the game, the hours in the game, and the hours after the game. But the actual time spent in these uncomfortable situations when you're actually in the present moment is very, very short. It's very short. And so one of our greatest fears is the unknown, right? And so it's the things we're not familiar with that make us uncomfortable. And it's not that the thing you're facing is really that scary or intimidating. You're just not familiar with it yet. And that's where the fear of the unknown comes from. We're just not familiar with it yet.
Mhm.
Right? So if we can get familiar with the things that we're gonna have to face anyways and stop shying away from it and run towards it, from my experience, once you go through it, you know, it's not nearly as bad as you thought. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's just really not. And so when you step out of your comfort zone enough times, everything becomes your comfort zone. And that's what I learned. And after I learned that, man, like my whole perspective changed. Okay, when I stepped out of my comfort zone enough times, everything was the comfort zone. There was no longer two zones of uncomfortable and comfortable. Everything was your comfort zone. That's got to be the mentality. And that's where, when we hear the phrase try to get comfortable in uncomfortable situations, this especially applies to that and when you step into tough environments consistently. So you want to like imagine that, imagine you have your own personal map with two zones. You have comfort zones, you have uncomfort zones. I know it's contradicting to what I said about 10 seconds ago, but stay with me here and this will all make sense. You know,
Mhm.
when we're born, we all start out with our uncomfort zones covering 100% of the map. Okay? So you're born and 100% of your map is uncomfort zones because you're not familiar with them, like we said before. But we adapt, and then throughout life, we start changing. And then these uncomfort zones turn to comfort zones. And once you get into these territories and you do it enough times and you get the experience more and more and you learn more things, again, you start changing the percentages of the map. And so our goal in life should be if we want to experience as much growth and potential as we possibly can, we got to turn as many uncomfort zones to comfort zones as possible. We got to own the map. Cover as much territory as you can. That's the perspective. And again, the more you do this, the easier each experience gets.
Mhm.
It's like a snowball effect. Tough to get the ball rolling in the beginning, but once you get some momentum with this, it gets easier each time you go through it. Couple examples, even like think of your first day of school in a new building, right? No matter what age you were, like sometime in your life. Day one, you're nervous and uncomfortable. You don't know where to go. You don't know where your classes are. You don't know who your teacher is. And then think about the last day of school and like how different you feel on the last day of school. You're sick of everybody by that time, right? You know how to walk to class with your eyes closed. So you've changed an uncomfort zone to a comfort zone. In sports, think about your first championship game you ever played, or maybe the first tournament you played, or maybe a new league you played in for the first time. For you, you can relate to that. The first time or the first game, you're definitely not in your comfort zone, right?
Mhm.
But then through enough reps, enough games, it changes. And again, you get more comfortable because now you've experienced a new tournament that you're going to face again. You've experienced a championship game that you'll see again sometime in the future. So again, we got to step out of the comfort zone. We do it enough times, you're changing your zones. And that's what I meant when I said earlier. It's like, you do start out with the whole zone being uncomfortable. And then you start, each thing, it's like playing a game and collecting coins. You ever play
Right.
a video game and like each one you collect, you keep stashing up points and you keep leveling up, right? But so we're shifting the map.
Mhm.
But when you start to do more and more and you start to own a majority of the map, you know, compared to the guys that you're facing against in the games that they don't have very much of their map covered of comfort zones. The most of their map is still filled with uncomfort zones. They're
Yeah.
about they're about 20% comfort zone, 80% uncomfort zone. So as soon as they face a situation, maybe against you, maybe against your team, and they're not familiar, they're not comfortable, they're going to probably crumble. You're going to most likely have the leg up on them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And your level of confidence when you step into those situations is going to be times three of what the other guy is.